What's happening, guys, and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're going to be checking out the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Cyberverse Universe WINDBLADE. Now, this is a much needed update and is without a doubt the deluxe character from Wave 1 that I've been the most excited to check out, really for two main reasons. So, first of all, Cyberverse, the show this figure is based on, initially never had an actual mainline, meaning that any previous figures for this character were all very simplistic, very basic in terms of the way they looked. And the second reason would be this is the first WINDBLADE officially produced by Hasbro in years, so it's awesome to see them resurrect such an amazing character for Legacy United. And one thing which is great about the Cyberverse design is it really doesn't stray too far away from how she originally appeared in the IDW comics. So perhaps if you're not a fan of the show itself, just in terms of a regular WINDBLADE, I think this is a banging looking figure. I mean, first of all, easily recognizable as the character, and it is actually a pretty solid deluxe. So as we check out the details, the head sculpt is brilliant. I also really like the way the chest has been designed. The arm sculpt is also pretty awesome, as so are the wings, because the detail on these is surprisingly pretty decent. And I also like how the rotor blades are a separate piece, so these are articulated. The front part of the legs too looks super animation accurate, especially with the silver intakes here on the shins. And as we spin her around here to the back, she's not hollow at all. Pretty much everything is completely filled in. So check out the back part of the legs, completely detailed. These look pretty awesome. Now, she does have a big ass backpack. This is something to do with the design, unfortunately, because she is super streamlined, super slim. The kibble has to go somewhere, although in just a bit I will show you guys how you can better disperse of this to create what is, in my opinion, the superior look. Now, as we check out her articulation, again, a straight out win. So the head's on a ball joint. This can look up to a wicked range. It can look down, as well as also rotate left to right. The shoulders will move forwards, backwards, hinge out to the sides. There's then a bicep swivel, an elbow bend, which can only go to 90, unfortunately. Would have been amazing had it gone a little further, but do you know what? It's not terrible. We then get wrist articulation, which is essential for this character, so that's pretty banging. The wings themselves can hinge down. They can go up as well as forwards and backwards, so surprisingly pretty articulated. And as I mentioned previously, the rotor blades are independent, so you can also flare those upwards. The waist, despite the big ass backpack, can rotate the full 360 completely unhindered, so that's cool. The hips will then kick forwards, I'd say roughly to 90. They can also kick back to the same range, which is awesome. They'll then kick out to the sides. There is a thigh swivel, a 90-degree bend here at the knee, and then finally, in terms of the foot, in addition to going backwards and forwards, we see the return of the Generations ankle tilt, which is actually pretty deep for this character, meaning that posing wise, she is pretty agile, which is exactly what I was hoping to see from this character. Now, in terms of that backpack, officially, it does compress into kind of this lunchbox, which honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of because it basically is just a giant brick. Now, due to the way she transforms, you can split this here directly down the middle, and personally, I like to disperse of this behind the back part of her wings because I think it breaks it up a little better, and from the front, due to the articulated wings, it really isn't visible at all. So this is one option that you can have, and again, I do find this to be the superior transformation over the official configuration. But if you're not too fussed about parts forming, it is only held on there via a tiny little friction clip. So, bang! You could completely remove it from the back, and surprisingly, this has been completely detailed and filled in. So, it does make me wonder if this was intentional, and with it removed, it then allows for a slightly more dynamic spread of the back wings, which again, I think make her look slightly better. So, you do have a few options. I'm not sure if this is how I'm going to be keeping her on the shelf, because I do like to keep my Transformers in one piece, but undeniably, with that piece removed, she is pretty much flawless in terms of her robot design. So you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Now, as we check out her accessories, which are a straight up win, we have one energized blade, which looks sick. I mean, check out the kind of purple fiery effect here that we have for the blade itself. Even the hilt has been nicely detailed, I guess to kind of replicate one of her turbines. It's also appropriately big. I wasn't expecting it to be this large, but as you guys can see, she does look pretty awesome swinging this around, and despite being cast in transparent plastic, it holds up super well. So I definitely don't feel as if though it's going to snap or break anytime soon. And in terms of weapon storage, in true WINDBLADE fashion, it can be fastened to the side of her hip, which again is a straight up win. But that's not all, because the tiny little headpiece on the back is also completely removable. Now, due to the way they've sculpted her hands, there is a tiny little slot here for you to take this fan and slide it into, although what I will say is because this is fully painted in gold, you do run the risk of potentially scratching some of the paint off. So personally, I would leave it just attached onto the back of the head, but it is definitely nice that they did give you the option to remove it, especially considering how tiny it is. Now, as we check out a few comparisons, unfortunately I don't own any of the previous WINDBLADE figures, which is why I'm so stoked to see her make a return for Legacy United. But first up, here we have her stacked up alongside the Cyberverse universe, Shadow Striker. Now, I really like this figure, but in terms of which update is more faithful to their universe, hands down it's WINDBLADE, because here with Shadow Striker, they decided to kind of go down the RID Shadow Striker route and almost give us a sideburn pre-tool. It would have been amazing now that we have this WINDBLADE to have gotten that kind of Frankenstein Shadow Striker design, which she was known for in Cyberverse. But do you know what? These ain't looking too bad. I'm kind of excited to see as to what other Cyberverse figures they bring into this universe. Personally, I would love a proper deluxe class MacAdam. I think that would be so brilliant. At the moment, unfortunately, I don't have any of my Cyberverse Deluxe figures to hand, so here we have the next best thing, that being the Earthspark Deluxe class Bumblebee. For kind of a random comparison, here is Legacy DevCon, Transformers Studio Series Voyager class Ironhide, and then finally the absolute go-to Earthrise Optimus Prime. Now, as we check out WINDBLADE's transformation, the first steps would be to take the shoulder pads and snap these here into place. We can then come here to the propellers, rotate these here backwards to reveal the unpainted plastic, and do the same here for this side. The next step is to then take these wings, hinge these here down, really and truly just to get them out of the way. Make sure you take the head sculpt and pull it here slightly forwards, as we're going to spin around here to the back, take the nose cone, fold this piece here all the way down, and as I showcased previously, this whole piece does completely split directly down the middle, so just open those panels out. We can then take these interior panels and begin extending these here forwards on these double hinge joints, and do the exact same here for this side. Now what you're going to do is flip around here to the front, and this is double hinged, so you're going to take this hinge joint. First of all, pull this here forwards. Once that's done, we're then going to take that second hinge, and as you can see, we are left with two tabs that should slide into these slots, and that will then completely conceal over the back of her head. We can then take these panels and basically just begin closing this here all the way up, so snap all of that into place. The next step would be to then rotate here at the waist, so the front is now facing the back. Flip around here to the back and take both the front part of the foot and the heel spur and hinge these in opposite directions to each other, so you should be left with a look that is like this. Come to this side and do the exact same. So again, grab the heel spur and the front part of the foot and bring those in opposite directions of each other. We can then take these side wings, hinge these here out to the sides. The next step would be to flip back round here to the front. Now this can become a little tricky as we are dealing with a lot of different hinge joints. So take this red piece, hinge this up, and then disengage the knee joint away, slide this down, and then once you reach this point, make sure you take this section and hinge this here all the way down as well. Now that we've done that, this tab is going to slide into this slot, so snap that there into place. Come here to this side and do the same, so hinge this piece here up. Again, take the knee joint, disengage that, take this piece here, hinge it forwards so that we can completely collapse this in just like this, and then this little tab is going to slide into a slot on the back part of this. So once that's complete, we can then combine these two sections directly down the middle, so snap those there into place. Spin here to the underside. The hands are going to grasp over the top of these little tabs, so snap those there into place. And for a finishing touch, you're going to want to take these wings and snap these into what were originally the sides of the kneecaps. And bang! Here we have WINDBLADE fully transformed into her jet mode. Now as we check her out from the side, because without a doubt this is the most important angle of any jet former, it's surprisingly pretty sleek and clean, which considering we were left with a huge chunk on her back in robot mode, I wasn't expecting, but with the exception of the support struts, there really isn't anything which sticks out, so that's pretty awesome. She does however suffer from visible hand syndrome. To be fair, I don't think it's terrible. Had I not pointed it out, you guys may not have even noticed it, but as we spin around here to the front, I really like how there are two distinct seat sculpts embedded within the cockpit. That's kind of awesome. And you can take these thrusters here and angle them forwards so she can propel herself into battle. So that's pretty sweet. Check out the nuts and bolts that we have on the top part of the jet. There are also two thrusters here at the back, which are blast effect compatible, so that's not too bad. And as we flip back round here to the front, you can deploy this front landing gear to go along with the back two, and check out the details. So all in all, definitely a very solid looking jet mode. And in terms of weapon storage, if you spin around here to the back and split this directly down the middle, we do have these two little slots, and on either side of the sword are these little tabs. So what you do is perfectly line these here up with one another, give that there a good old squeeze, and the blade in a way kind of acts as its own blast effect, which I thought was pretty cool. So now she can actually propel herself through the multiverse into the Legacy universe. Now, as we check out a few comparisons, on the left-hand side we have WINDBLADE stacked up alongside the Cyberverse universe Shadow Striker. Here is how she pairs alongside that Earthspark Bumblebee, and design-wise, I actually think these two in particular blend quite nicely with each other. Then we have the Legacy Evolution Deluxe class DevCon, Studio Series 86 Voyager class Ironhide, and then lastly, but by no means least, Earthrise Optimus Prime, which as I said is the go-to comparison. So I really hope this gives you a good sense of scale of how she roughly stacks up, a pretty decent size in jet mode for a deluxe class. And so, wrapping up on this review for the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class WINDBLADE. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid figure, and at the time of this recording, this is one of the strongest Legacy United Deluxes that I've so far checked out, and all of them so far have been wicked. I mean, I really liked Animated B and the Rescue Bots Chase, but WINDBLADE just overall is excellent. So, the articulation is really decent. I was kind of surprised to see how poseable and articulated her wings are. My only issue with her robot mode would be the backpack, but as I showcased in this video, there are workarounds to that. If you didn't like it, then you could mistransform it, or you could detach it completely. It's up to you guys. And the jet mode for a deluxe class is surprisingly pretty sleek. I was not expecting that undercarriage to look as nice as it does, especially after recently reviewing last year the Legacy Needle Nose. This really is an all-round solid figure, and at the moment, if I could only recommend one Legacy United Deluxe, it would have to be WINDBLADE. She's awesome, and it is wicked to see this character again resurrect into the Legacy United line after so many years of absence. I'd love to get your thoughts on this figure down in the comment section below. What do you guys think? Is this a pickup? Is this a pass? And until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.